guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, I'm back and I just uploaded the first video and now I am going on to the second one. I didn't even take a break. I haven't even moved. And I probably should have moved because I've got numb bum. But, you know, I know, too much information. Okay, it's still Thursday, February 7th, and it's 9:29 now. And, yeah, let's get started. Or let's continue. I guess that would be more like it. We're just going to pick right up where we left off. So how do you like that? Okay, let's look at it. This is a little odd. I'm just warning you. I'm warning you. Zombie deer. Yeah. No, you can't make this stuff up, can you? Zombie deer. Yeah, deadly disease that turns deer into zombies has spread to 26 states, new report warns, amid fears it could be one day transmitted to humans. Zombie deer disease, chronic wasting disease, is infection in deer, moose, elk. It causes dramatic weight loss, loss of coordination, and increased aggression. As of January, CDC says it's been reported in 24 U.S. states, 2 Canadian provinces. That is a little bit scary. Zombie deer. So I guess if you see a really skinny deer that is not coordinated, kind of spastic, and is aggressive, then that deer might be a zombie. Yeah, who knew? A deadly infection that's come to be known as zombie deer disease is spreading across North America, a new report warns, formerly called chronic wasting disease. I like zombie deer better. I don't like chronic wasting disease. The illness attacks the brain, spinal cord, and other tissue in deer, elk, and moose. It eventually leads to death, but not before causing the animal to dramatically lose weight and coordination and become aggressive. According to the CDC, the disease was reported in at least 24 states in the U.S., 2 Canadian provinces as of January 2019, up 2 states since last year. So beware the zombie deer. And, you know, that means that I don't know how it's spread, and obviously it cannot spread to humans yet, but you know, I mean, deer, it's going to end up in the food supply because a lot of people hunt deer and eat venison, and, you know, there are other animals that eat deer, wolves, coyotes, bears. I guess bears eat deer, I'm not sure. But anyway, do bears eat deer? That is the question for today. Because I really don't know. I should know. Anyway, though warnings over zombie deer disease over the past few years have caused many to draw parallels to the mad cow epidemic, there's so far no evidence that people can be harmed by the infected meat. Well, I'd like to know that for sure. The disease was first spotted in the wild roughly 40 years ago, but has been seen in captive deer as far back as the late 1960s. It blossomed primarily in northern Colorado and southern Wyoming and has been spreading outward since, according to the CDC. Since 2000, the area known to be infected by chronic wasting disease and free-ranging animals has increased to at least 24 states, including states in the Midwest, Southwest, and limited areas on the East Coast, the CDC says. It is possible that chronic wasting disease may occur in other states without strong animal surveillance systems, but the cases haven't been detected yet. So, you know, I'm not going to, you know, belabor this, but, you know, I don't want Bambi to be a zombie. My gosh. There's just sad things everywhere. Mad cows and now zombie deers. What's the world coming to? No, really. Okay, and what is this? It's YouTube. Now, I wonder what this is. I can't remember. There's a train going by. Do you
Friends,
Oh, yes.
Sir, you
okay.
gotta repent, sir. You gotta repent, sir, for murder.
Let me explain this first, okay? Now, I don't necessarily agree with what this guy is doing either, accosting this doctor, but you know, I mean, at least he's passionate for what he believes in, and I think more of us need to be. But here is this guy, and he is approaching this abortion doctor, and it's very interesting, his response. It's not normal, it's not professional, and it's just flat out weird. So I want you to view this. It's only 54 seconds long, so it's not long, and I want to know what you guys think of this. Put it in the comments below, because I'm very interested. What do you think is going on with this guy? Because there's something way not normal. All right, let me turn it back. This is this guy that's not seen in the video. He's behind the camera, and he is here's the abortion doctor, and here it looks like a security guard of some sort. All right, let's play it.
Friends, I pray, sir, you gotta repent, sir. You gotta repent, sir, for murdering babies.
Why?
Because it's a sin before God.
Why?
Wow.
Stinky breath.
Yeah,
Why?
that's pretty evil of you, sir.
Yeah, I am.
And I hope and pray that you...
Yeah. Ah.
Well, that's what you do to babies, huh?
Yeah, I love it.
You love it, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I hope that you come to Christ, sir.
Oh, I never go to Christ.
I hope that you come to Christ,
No,
sir.
I don't go to Christ.
Yeah,
I don't listen to Christ.
You will have a darkened heart, sir.
I do have a darkened heart. Yeah.
You have a darkened heart.
I do, very, very much so.
And you will stand before God in judgment day.
Yes, I will. Every day.
You will stand before God in judgment day.
Yes, I will. Every day.
All of the babies that you have
love it.
killed.
I love it.
Yeah, keep tearing the babies apart.
Yeah, I will.
Keep tearing the babies
I
apart.
will.
Keep tearing the babies apart. Yeah, sir, the baby...
Now, interesting, because, you know, she's finding it very, very humorous, as is the other security guard, and, you know, she actually comes. Now, I don't believe that the guy had a phone call, and she comes and rescues him and says, "Oh, you have a phone call, sir." She wanted to get him away from this guy. That's at least how I read it. Let's go back a little bit, and we can see that again.
I will, every day.
All of the babies that you have killed.
I love it.
Yeah, keep tearing the babies apart.
Yeah, I will.
Keep tearing the babies apart.
I
will. Keep tearing the babies apart. Yeah, sir, the babies, their blood screams from the ground.
And I am going to put this video, I'll put it in the description, because I do want to give this person a shout out. Marcus Rogers, I don't know who they are, but, well, they've got a lot of subscribers. They've got 213,000 subscribers. So, hey, I've never heard of this person before, but this is actually very, very shocking video, if you ask me. So I will put a link to that in the description below, and let me know what you think about it. And let's go back. Alrighty, let's go look at this, shall we? Sure we shall. Here we go. I think I'll have a sip of this very, very cold tea. Yes, it's cold now, but I'm drinking it out of my Q mug, so that makes it better. Cold tea, not so good. Okay, Pelosi mocks Ocasio-Cortez. See, I say it wrong every time, so now I can't even say it right. So let's just call her Ocasio-Cortez. Green New Deal. So Pelosi is mocking her. Not surprised. Now, you know, when, for heaven's sakes. There we go. All right. Now, you know, when Pelosi has to mock you, not so good. Yeah. Anyway. It will be one of several, or maybe many suggestions that we receive, Pelosi told Politico on Wednesday before Ocasio-Cortez. Oh, for heaven's sakes. You know what? What the heck just happened here? You guys are very patient, and I appreciate it. You guys are the awesomest. The bomb diggity. All right. Okay. Wednesday before Ocasio-Cortez Cortez released the plan, the Green Dream, or whatever they call it. Nobody knows what it is, but they're for it, right? Pelosi's comments come on the 29-year-old Ocasio-Cortez was excluded from the new select committee on the climate crisis. I find that a little bit humorous that she was excluded from the committee when she is so for the climate crisis. In fact, she said that we only have 12 years left because of the climate crisis. So, well, whatever. So Occasional Cortex is rolling out the Green New Deal with Senator Ed Markey, which she says calls for a national social, industrial, and economic mobilization at a scale not seen since World War II and the New Deal, and is a wartime level just economic mobilization plan to get 100% renewable energy. What the heck did she just say? Do any of you know? Does she even know? I don't think so. You know, Snake Plissken is right. She probably couldn't get your order right at Starbucks, but hey, what do I know? The plan also aims to promote justice and equality by stopping current, preventing future, and repairing historic opposition of indigenous communities, communities of color, migrant communities, and other frontline and vulnerable communities. Okay. Occasional Cortex's plan, which has several, doesn't outline, this is not written well, outline specific policy proposals. They'll work it out, we guess, and promises grandiose measures using broad brush strokes such as achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions through a fair and just transition for all communities and workers. Everybody gets a job, clean water, healthy food, and access to nature, whatever that means. All right. Where it does get slightly more specific, the resolution obtained by NPR mandates, among other things, upgrading all existing buildings in the country for energy efficiency. All existing buildings in the country? Who's going to pay for that? Working with farmers to eliminate pollution and greenhouse gas emissions as much as is technologically feasible, while supporting family farms and promoting universal access to healthy food. Okay, so they're going to eliminate pollution on farms and greenhouse gas emissions. What about the farting cows? Wasn't that a problem a few years ago? Do we need to get maybe panties for cows? Cow panties with maybe carbon inserts so that when they fart, it has to go through like a little screening process, and it could work. Maybe somebody should suggest that to her. I bet you she'd go for it. Cow panties. It could work in her world. Overhauling transportation systems to reduce emissions, including expanding electric car manufacturing, building charging stations everywhere, and expanding high-speed rail to a scale where air travel stops becoming necessary. Okay, she wants to do away with airplanes. I think she's been flying high for a while. A guaranteed job with a family-sustaining wage, adequate family and medical leave, paid vacation and retirement security for every American, high-quality health care for all Americans. She doesn't say how it's going to be paid for. No, they never do. This is a person that just a few years ago was a barista, and now she wants to change everything in the United States, including upgrading all buildings. Sure, if it comes out of her paycheck, that's okay. She can pay for it. For a deeper analysis, maybe she should start a GoFundMe account for that. What do you think? And maybe I should start one for cow panties. Not cow patties, cow panties. Okay, for a deeper analysis, which we noted earlier, click here. No, I don't want a deeper analysis, please. Former Vice President and terrible prognosticator Al Gore has thrown his support behind the plan. Well, naturally he would, wouldn't he? Naturally. Mother Nature has awakened so many Americans to the urgent threat of the climate crisis, and this proposal responds to the growing concern and demand for action, said Gore. The goals are ambitious and comprehensive. Now the work begins to decide the best ways to achieve them with specific policy solutions tied to timelines. Now, here's my guess. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be right. She's going to be one of these people that, have you ever been in an organization? I'm sure you have. And I've been manager before in many capacities, and people will come to you and they'll say, you know what, I think we should do this and this and this and this and this. And I'll look at them and I'll say, okay, well, why don't you be in charge of that? Oh, I don't know how to get it done. I just think that we should do that. Yeah, they want to bring you the problems. They never want to bring you the solutions. So she brings all this stuff, but there's no plan for it. How are we going to afford it? How are we going to do it? How are we going to implement this? Dunno. She just knows how to make coffee. So anyway, for a deeper, okay, all right. Okay, that's enough for that. Blah. All right. So let's go on, shall we? Now here's another odd thing. I know you like odd things because you listen to me. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with listening to me. Really. I won't tell anybody. It can be your guilty pleasure. Okay. Snowed-in Russian driver rescued by camel. Yeah. In hilarious road video. Well, is this it? No. Okay. A bizarre video showing a camel towing a car stuck on a snow-covered Russian road is making the rounds on social media. When your 4x4 off-road vehicle fails you in the fierce Russian winter and even a tractor can't pull you out, you may still hope for a miracle to happen. At least if you're in Saratov, where this viral video was shot. I can't speak tonight. Uploaded to social media, the footage shows a camel trying to pull the car out of snow on a dual carriage road. The animal, controlled by its cameleer, I didn't know that that's somebody that rides a cameleer. I've learned something tonight. The whole day has been worthwhile. A cameleer. Maybe I'd like to be a cameleer someday. Yeah, I think that'd be fun. Anyway, its cameleer succeeds at the third attempt as cheering voices are heard in the background. At the end of the video, a tractor is seen on the roadside standing still, apparently after failing to dig out the car. Good old camels. Yeah. Yay for the camels. Let's watch.
Почти. Потащу. Нихуя себе. Собьет сейчас его, блин.
Now, my only question is, where did the camel come from? I wouldn't have thought that camels are native to Russia, but hey. You know, I learned something new every day. Like today, I learned that a person that, I guess, directs a camel or rides a camel is called a cameleer. Who knew? All right. Let's go back. No, really. Let's. Okay, well, this is a little bit more serious. If we can get to it. Sure we can. We can do all things. Okay, top U.S. commander, Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, operating in Latin America. Well, that doesn't surprise me. Not at all. And with our border as porous as it is in the south, well, and the north, you know, this should be cause for concern. Washington, D.C., the Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, and Iran's narco-terrorist proxy, Hezbollah, maintain a presence on the Western Hemisphere and present an immediate threat to the region, a top U.S. commander told lawmakers on Thursday, warning that the jihadi groups could use drug trafficking routes in Latin America to infiltrate the United States. And isn't this what Trump has been telling us, but nobody wants to listen? Admiral Craig Fowler, the U.S. Southern Command chief, warned established drug trafficking routes and techniques provide opportunities for the illegal movement of other commodities and people, including terrorists. Several years ago, the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria dedicated an article to a scenario in which its followers could leverage established trafficking networks to make their way to our border. This remains a potential vulnerability we watch as closely as we can. Well, it's pretty hard to watch that with that border as long as it is and practically unprotected. And in some areas, not protected at all. There isn't even a fence. They can just walk right over. And I'm sure they do. Fuller's comments are part of Southcom's, let me close this, annual posture statement presented by the Admiral to the Senate Armed Services Committee on Thursday in the form of written testimony. Southcom is responsible for overseeing U.S. military activities in most of Latin America and the Caribbean. In the statement, Fowler listed violent Islamic extremist groups as a top immediate threat facing his area of responsibility, AOR, along with drug cartels and activities by U.S. rivals like Russia, China, and Iran. Admiral Fowler noted groups like Lebanese, Hezbollah, ISIS, and Al-Qaeda operate in Latin America and the Caribbean wherever they can garner support, raise funds, and pursue their terrorist agendas. ISIS and other groups have demonstrated their ability to inspire and recruit violent extremists to plan attacks in South America and the Caribbean. While Southcom's posture statement has repeatedly mentioned the ISIS and Hezbollah threat in recent years, the latest report is the first one to note that the Al-Qaeda menace. U.S. officials and independent experts from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, FDD, and other organizations have linked Al-Qaeda, particularly its North African branch, to the drug trade in Latin America. A Syrian Kurdish leader recently told Breitbart News Al-Qaeda is making a comeback in the Middle East. That's not good news. According to Admiral Fowler, Latin American and Caribbean governments are concerned about the return of battle-hardened terrorists who traveled to the Middle East in recent years to engage in jihad on behalf of ISIS and other terrorist groups. Oh, don't worry, we're accepting them all in Canada. No, really, we are. These are people that, they're guilty. They have, participated in terroristic activities, but we welcome them because Trudeau thinks that they can be rehabilitated. Okay, well, we'll check back in maybe 10 years and see what happens to Canada. I hope to not be here, really. I hope I'm in the States at that time. Anyway, while the travel of foreign fighters from Latin America and the Caribbean to Iraq and Syria has diminished, the potential return of battle-trained extremists remains a threat, Fowler declared in the statement. In early 2017, the Associated Press revealed that up to 125 jihadists and their relatives traveled from the Caribbean nation island of Trinidad and Tobago to join ISIS in the Middle East, making the country the largest per capita source of recruits for the jihadist group in the Western Hemisphere. On Thursday, the top U.S. admiral highlighted the potential danger associated with human trafficking groups in Latin America that specialize in smuggling illegal migrants from terrorism-linked countries in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, known as Special Interest Aliens, or SIAs. Another potential threat is posed by smuggling networks that move special interest aliens from East Africa and the Middle East and Southeast Africa through the hemisphere to attempt entry into the United States, he said. Latin American authorities are known to work with their U.S. counterparts to counter networks dedicated to smuggling illegal migrants into the United States from terror-linked countries. Authorities have found Hezbollah to be affiliated to the drug trade in Latin America, which Admiral Fuller described as a national security menace, noting that overdoses in the United States killed nearly 70,000 people in 2017 alone, the latest year for which data is available. For years, Southcom has warned against the presence of Iran and its Hezbollah proxy in Latin America. So I'm not going to go and read all of this, but this is exactly what Donald Trump has been talking about, and it's hard to get this through the Democrats' heads, but it's not just Latin Americans that are coming over. Sure, there are some bad Latin Americans as well. There are some criminals. There are some, dealers and human traffickers that come across from Latin America. But a lot of the danger comes from, Middle East and, these countries that are coming there because they know they can go to Mexico and infiltrate into the United States with very little difficulty. So this is exactly what he's been talking about, but it's been falling on deaf ears as far as the Democrats go. Anyway, let's go on. And I'm going to skip this for now. It's starving Venezuelans warning U.S. socialism is a big lie. So, yeah, Venezuelans are telling the U.S. and warning us that, look, if you don't want to go down that road, you really don't want to go down that road. And we can look at what's happening there, and it could happen here just as easily. But hopefully with as many patriots as there are in the U.S., hopefully this will never happen and there will never be socialism in the U.S. We were born free and we want to stay free. Absolutely. Okay. Now, let's see. I'm gonna go to this, and I'm gonna skip a few things because just because I am. I can get to them at another time, but the video will be way too long if I hit on everything. But this is interesting, and it's especially interesting to me because up here, of course, marijuana is legal, and I know as a Christian I was always against it because I thought, oh, it's a bad thing, but I really was not aware of its medicinal purposes, and so it's very easy to get here in Canada. Very, very easy to get. Now, it's easy to get here. It's not so easy to get in other places because there's they really haven't, even though they've legalized it, there's a lot of the producers of it can't keep up with the demand, and there's not a lot of outlets to get it. So a lot of people are getting it from Native American reserves here because they are allowed to grow it because it's traditional medicine. And so that's where I get it. I use it for medicinal purposes. It controls the pain. I've got a spinal injury, and it does control my pain I don't get any sort of buzz from it, but it does control my pain without having to take opioids. So that is a very good thing. Also good for people that have seizures. I mean, it's good for all sorts of things. Also good for cancer. Apparently, they're finding all sorts of things that it's good for. So I am for the legalization of medical marijuana. At least I really don't care if somebody wants to use it recreational. I mean, that is their business. That's between them and whoever. But it grows out of the ground. It's natural. To me, there's less problems with that than drinking because booze is man-made. Marijuana grows out of the ground. It's natural. And I think that God put it on the earth, as he did with all herbs and things like that, to heal. I really believe that. So, that's how I feel. Anyway, massive Harvard study contradicts anti-pot propaganda told to us for decades. And I have been, in the last few years, doing a re-education because I had believed all that. And then all of a sudden I'm realizing, my gosh, this is amazing. I don't have to take pain pills and I can control my pain. It's wonderful. It controls inflammation. It does all sorts of wonderful things. And there's a lot of uses for it. I use it for skincare as well. I have hemp skincare, and I wash my hair in it. I have hemp shampoo, and I can't say enough good things about it. Anyway, for decades, anti-marijuana and even pro-marijuana advocates have repeated a narrative about the potentially negative effects associated with smoking marijuana and the male sperm count. Smoking weed, we are told, decreases your ability to produce sperm. However, an extensive study published by none other than the Harvard researchers this week reveals quite the opposite may be happening. The study, titled Marijuana Smoking and Makers of Testicular Function Among Men from a Fertility Center, was published on Wednesday in the Journal of Human Reproduction. The study posed the question of, is marijuana smoking associated with semen quality, sperm, DNA, integrity of serum concentrations of reproductive hormones among subfertile men? Well, interestingly enough, it does increase the sperm count. So if you are a male and your sperm count's low and you are trying to conceive a child with your wife or significant other, then actually it will increase your sperm count, for those that may want to know. Anyway, the answer was surprising as it directly contradicts their expected result based on previously held beliefs, and found that marijuana use did indeed appear to have a positive effect on sperm count. So there you go. Our findings were contrary to what we initially hypothesized, said Phoebe Nassan, PhD, the study's lead author and research fellow at Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. The study consisted of examining 662 subfertile men who were enrolled at the Massachusetts General Hospital Fertility Center between 2000 and 2017. The men provided a total of 1,143 semen samples. 317 men also provided blood samples in which we measured reproductive hormones, according to the study. So anyway, I'm not going to go through all this, but suffice it to say that they found that it has a very positive effect on reproductive health. Good news. So I just wanted to include that because I have actually become very, very interested in the medicinal purposes of marijuana. I have always been interested in natural health, and I choose natural health whenever I can over traditional Western medicine. And so, yeah, I believe in it. I don't have any reason to sit around and just get high. I have no desire to do that. But, you know, for medicinal reasons, I have nothing against it whatsoever. So, there you go. Had to include that. Now, this is interesting as well. We've got a whole potpourri of things tonight. A potpourri of, including zombie deer. And, you know, don't forget about that. Zombie deer. Let me know if you see one. Alabama police will not allow poor drivers to leave the state. Okay, now I'm sure with all the listeners, there is at least a few from Alabama. So let me know about this. Are you aware of this? What is this all about? Seems a little strange to me. If you are too poor to pay a traffic ticket or a fine in Alabama, the police will not let you leave the state. You read that right. The Alabama Law Enforcement Agency will issue poor people a hardship driver's licenses, but you cannot leave. The mass media is falling all over themselves, praising the new law, saying this rule could help tens of thousands of people. Over 20,000 alone had their driver's licenses suspended just for an inability to pay fines and fees that were assets to them. Whatever, that's not, I don't know. They will be able to drive to work, to school, to medical appointments, to civic appointments or civic organization events, as well as, you know, go out and vote, or if they need to do household chores or things of that nature, says Captain John Archer of the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency. Well, you know, actually, I agree with this to a point because, you know, I always felt that way. It's like if you are poor, you tend to be in trouble with the law more. Not because you're any less law-abiding, but because, and I've seen this time and time again, somebody will get a traffic ticket and it just balloons out of, you know, control. It snowballs and suddenly you don't have a driver's license, your car's impounded, you know, whatever, because people are like, oh, I can't pay the fine. And their driver's license gets suspended. And then they think, well, I got to drive or I won't get to work. And if I don't work, I won't be able to pay my rent and then I'll be homeless and I won't be able to feed my family. So they end up driving even though their driving license has been suspended and they can't get it reinstated because they'd have to pay the fine. So then they just keep accruing all this stuff. So apparently what they're proposing in Alabama, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you have a hardship license, so you can drive and go to work, but you can't leave the state. Now, what I don't know, and what they probably address here somewhere, is you should be able to leave the state on a bus or a plane or whatever. I mean, if you had a sick relative out of state, you might need to go. So I don't know how they're going to work all that out. But anyway, hardship driver's license exist in every state and are mostly used for minors and DUI offenders. They are not used to punish the poor. Very strange animal sound out there. Sorry, just a very odd sound out there. An article in Alabama Today claims police have begun accepting applications to restore limited driving privileges to thousands of motorists who simply are too poor to pay their ticket. According to the Senate Bill 55, the police will only give poor people a hardship driver's license if they do not pose a risk to public safety. Well, naturally, and that makes sense. The Alabama State Law Enforcement Agency shall develop and implement a Class D hardship driver's license program with specified and limited driving privileges for a person with a suspended or revoked license who can demonstrate to the reasonable satisfaction of the agency that he or she does not pose a risk to public safety. Welcome to American policing, where one's inability to pay a ticket or fine is now a risk to public safety. Before Alabamans are allowed to drive again, Big Brother wants to know things like where you work and go to church. They also want to know the exact routes you will take to get there. Below is a list of what Alabama residents must provide to law enforcement before they are allowed to drive again. There's something to be said for horseback. Anyway, list of anticipated places applicant will travel, work, home, church, etc., and address of each. Documentation for all anticipated routes applicable will travel using Google Maps, MapQuest, etc. List of anticipated times of travel in relation to work shifts, religious ceremony times, etc. List and description of all specified vehicles applicant may use, including the owner, if not applicant. Make, model, tag number, proof of mandatory liability insurance shall be provided for each vehicle. This is what happens when the right to travel freely is seen by our courts and law enforcement as a privilege. How can America still be considered the land of the free when police surveil a person's every movement and restrict their right to travel? Now, what do you guys think about this? Because I would definitely like to know in the comments below. I am not going to tell you what I think about it. I may agree in part, I may disagree in part, but what do you guys think? Because I'd really like to know. Do you think this is going too far? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? What do you think? Are poor people penalized? They do tend to end up in trouble with the law more often. And a lot of times it has to do with money. Fines, parking tickets, what have you. Should that be? Anyway, interesting. Let's go on. Not as interesting as zombie deer, but interesting nonetheless. Okay, and let's see what else here. Oh, yeah. Did you know that, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but did you know that Rockefeller has a patent to the Zika virus? Interesting. No? I think it is. I think it's very interesting. And here's something interesting as well. That's not really Q related, but, you know, indulge me. Let's look at this. There is a link. I didn't know this. And maybe you didn't either. Did you know that there is a link between alcohol and magnesium deficiency? Yeah, there is. Alcohol is the world's most socially acceptable recreational drug. Grab a glass of wine and unwind from a long day, have a barbecue and invite friends over for some beers. Alcohol has its place in many people's lives, but it doesn't come without consequences to the body. One of the major effects of alcohol on the body is it depletes the body's magnesium levels, which causes all kinds of imbalances and symptoms. In fact, the depletion of magnesium levels from alcohol can contribute to the abuse of alcohol, because the side effects of drinking, such as depression and anxiety, can result in drinking becoming habitual or an emotional crutch. As a result, many people find themselves using alcohol to try and navigate through the depression and anxiety that alcohol itself has caused or contributed to in their lives. Drinking moderately is equal to 1 drink, 12 ounces per day for women and 2 drinks for men. Drinking in moderation can be safe and can cause reduced anxiety, relaxation, sociability, and a feeling of being happy. Drinking more than this can put you at risk of all kinds of health problems. Alcohol in higher amounts can cause intoxication, questionable judgment, diminished motor function, and lack of awareness. Long-term use of alcohol at high doses can lead to alcohol dependence, abuse, and sometimes death. Alcohol is considered a depressant. A depressant is a drug. Okay, we all know that. Too much alcohol consumption can lead to many health issues in the body. Alcohol prevents the absorption of nutrients into the bloodstream, leading to a deficiency in all nutrients, including magnesium. Alcohol severely affects the digestion system and can cause harm to the stomach and digestive lining, causing an array of health problems. Magnesium is the mineral responsible for organ function, and they say that most people are magnesium deficient. So most of us should be supplementing with magnesium every day. I do. Anyway, magnesium is a mineral responsible for organ function. Every organ in the body uses magnesium. It regulates 300 enzymes in the body. In general, it is difficult for people to get enough magnesium from diet alone. Combining a low magnesium diet with alcohol at any level taps into the magnesium storage. Thus, it is common for people to be deficient in magnesium. It is said about 80% of Americans are not getting enough magnesium. So there you go. And these are the symptoms. I have had magnesium deficiency and it's not pleasant. I've also had potassium deficiency. I was hospitalized for that. I'm not sure why. My potassium, magnesium, I always have to supplement. Always. Or I don't know. Anyway, here are the symptoms. Irritability, joint pain, muscle aches, anxiety, insomnia or reduced sleep, low energy, depression, restless leg syndrome. There have been multitude of studies done linking magnesium to many roles in the overall function of the body. It is responsible for hundreds of biochemical reactions in the body. It contributes to bone health. 60% of magnesium found in the body is in the bone. Magnesium has an anti-inflammatory properties, yes it does, and it reduces insulin resistance. It also helps prevent migraines, lowers blood pressure, improves sleep, promotes good muscle strength, aids in weight loss, fights depression, and enhances exercise performance. So all good things. Also, I have a friend that had ringing in the ears for years, and she supplemented with magnesium, and it's gone. So there may be a connection there. Don't know. There have been many studies connecting alcohol use to the depletion of magnesium in the body. A study that was carried out in Finland in 1986 concluded that magnesium deficiency was common among alcoholics. Another study also concluded that magnesium deficiency was linked to alcohol abuse and health problems. So you're more inclined to abuse alcohol if you're deficient in magnesium, and if you're abusing alcohol, then it depletes your magnesium. So it's a catch-22 situation. The studies go on and on connecting alcohol use to magnesium deficiency. Drinking too much alcohol leads to an increase in the excretion of magnesium. Experts have claimed that the kidneys eliminate as much as 260% more magnesium within just a few minutes of consuming alcohol. Okay, that's enough for that, but I did want to bring that to you because it's very interesting. And another way you can get magnesium is through Epsom salts. If you just have an Epsom salt bath a couple times a week, that gets your magnesium levels up. So, I don't know. Do with it what you will. Okay, my cat, Picasso, is staring at me very strangely. Don't know. What else here? Oh, yes. Okay. Have to do this one as well. This is one we cannot skip because it's just too wild. It's right up there with the zombie deer. No, it is. Really. Lawyer causes court evacuation after abundance of bed bugs pours from his suit. I'm not making this up. It's right here. Can't you see it? It is something I would make up, but I didn't. A lawyer caused a courtroom to evacuate when he arrived with an abundance of bed bugs falling off his suit. Well, there you go. Bed bugs. The Rogers County Courthouse in Oklahoma, remind me to never go there, shut down Monday after the third-floor courtroom became overrun with the blood-sucking insects. And I've heard once you have them, it's almost impossible to get rid of. Hard to imagine someone doesn't know that some bed bugs are crawling all over them, certainly in abundance. Rogers County Sheriff Scott Walton told KJRH News. And, you wouldn't expect your lawyer to come to court crawling in bed bugs, would you? You'd expect that somebody that has the wherewithal to get through law school would have the wherewithal to know that bugs are crawling all over them and falling off them in huge quantities. You would think. Maybe not. Who knew? Not going there. According to Walton, another person who was in the court first saw the bugs on the lawyer who has remained unnamed, and that's pretty wise. Yeah, I wouldn't want my name named either if I had bed bugs crawling all over me, which I don't. Do I? A courthouse user noticed them and said she could visibly see something crawling on his neck, which was later found to be bed bugs. He said he had also placed his jacket over some file folders, and when his jacket was moved, bed bugs were discovered there. Ew. The courthouse head of security, Mike Clark, said the lawyer was incredibly casual about the infestation of bugs living in his suit and did not appear to notice. I don't even think he cared, Clark said. What? Really? How do you not notice? And once you do notice, how do you not care? Ew. The building was evacuated, well, naturally, and pest control was called in to exterminate the bugs. You know, if I'd been in that building, in that courtroom, honestly, because I know that bed bugs are almost impossible to get rid of, and honestly, I would have showered somewhere and burnt my clothes. Yes, I would have. Honestly, I'm not joking. I would not play around with bed bugs. We cleared the courtroom, but we also had inmates in the courtroom, which caused concern. So yeah, because the inmates could have all taken it back to the jail, and they could have had an infestation of bed bugs. Disgusting. I think I'd rather have zombie deer than bed bugs, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I would. We cleared the courtroom, but we also had inmates in the courtroom, which caused concern. So at that time, we evacuated everyone from the courtroom, Clark said. We are certainly not happy with someone coming in that condition to inconvenience everyone else in the building. The courthouse opened back up Tuesday morning after the building was treated for the contamination. It has not been confirmed yet who the lawyer was or if this was a genius yet disgusting stunt to get his case delayed. I don't think anybody would go to that extent to get a case delayed, but who knows? But I think it's safe to say that he's probably not married and probably doesn't have a girlfriend or ever will. And I really don't ever want to visit his house. Yuck. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. Okay, now, remember what I said about the world? It's impossible for the world to be round because, or it's impossible for the world to be flat because cats would have knocked everything off of the edge by now. Well, yeah, my cat is on my table and knocking everything off, and she's got a bag around her head, and I'm going to have to intervene. So, you know what? I'm going to have to stop this video right now to intervene because my cat has a bag caught on its head. Yes, indeed, this is the end of this video. I'll see you later, guys. Bye!